There's a reason China will win that is underappreciated, and it's that the younger generations of Americans love China. Picture it. You're an American child. You get in trouble for something. Your parents are stressed. They can't pay the bills. They're taking it out on you. There's not going to be an apology or an explanation. You're going to get sent to your room, teary-eyed, with a hurting heart, because the person that's supposed to make you feel safe and protected in the world is angry at you and the world. And so you get sent to your room for a while to play by yourself. And what do? You grab a toy. And what does the toy say on it? It says made in China. When no one was there for you. China was there for you.
为什么越来越多美国年轻人开始喜欢中国？答案可能和你想的不一样。这期视频中，美国博主提出了一个大胆观点：中国最大的优势不是经济，也不是科技，而是已经悄悄影响了一整代美国年轻人的价值观。从 TikTok、小红书到中国文化、中国美食，甚至一句 Made in China， 他认为中国的影响力已经从商品出口变成了文化认同。这番观点也引发了大量美国网友热议。
I want to talk about China. I feel called to discuss China today for a few reasons. My social media is showing me a lot of people doing very Chinese things. Apple tea being the biggest one, like bone apple tea. And it's people in America. I want to say Americans, but people aren't saying American anymore. They're saying USians, Usians, kind of like Asians, but with a U. And it's because America is 2 continents. So we say Americans referring to people in the States, but really it's Usians is what we're going to say now. I've decided. I don't like the pronunciation USian. That sounds ridiculous. It's going to be Uj. So all of these Usians are posting their Asian tea. It's apples, jujuberries. I thought jujubes was just a made-up thing. I thought it was a candy. It's a real thing that comes from the earth. And then there's goji berries in it. You boil the apples in the hot water, and then you make this thing that you drink. They only drink warm water. They think that the reason we get sick so much in the US is because we drink cold water. So we have to drink the warm one now. And so everyone in the US is embracing Chinese culture, and it has me thinking, is this Chinese supremacy? Is this what it was like to live in other countries when America was becoming the it girl of the world? When I was in middle school, a new girl came from Albania, and she was the coolest thing. Everyone wanted to be like Flutra. She displaced the previous most popular girl. She was the Flucher. And so we all followed her and wanted to be like her instead of, it was like Shelby before that probably. I asked other people too. I was like, obviously she was the most popular girl in our middle school. And they were like, no, I thought it was, this other person. You don't even have the same perception of other people as to who the most popular people in school is. This was groundbreaking for me. I was like, I assumed the hierarchy was ingrained in all of us. But no, we all had different perceptions of who the most popular person was. And similarly, people probably feel the same way about China and the US, fighting to be the hegemony. I know Russia feels a type of way about that. But basically this stuff, women in America are drinking it. I've only ever seen women in America make a purchase, right? Korean skincare is a thing. French makeup is a thing. Italian leather. But this is just apples and water. This is a cultural practice. This is not a product you import from another country. Also, the phrase, I'm in a very Chinese time of my life. Kids are saying it. The other thing, Chinese music. It's trending in the US. So why are we aspirationally Chinese now? I think it's a sign that the shift toward Chinese hegemony is happening globally. Also, take a look at this video.
China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. and we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
He's dunking on us. I don't even know what to say. He's in charge now. China leads the world after this video. The only thing that we understand in America is when someone big dicks us. We only understand power when it's coming from someone who's a little bit aggressive and egotistical. You can have every possible credential, and for some reason in America, that's not enough. You also have to walk with the confidence and talk with the ego that you're that guy. I understand it's a cultural thing. I moved to the Midwest. Being humble is a big part of the culture here. It's a quiet confidence. You don't brag. That's its own kind of, big dicking, big ballsing. And so this guy talking to us like that at a time when our leader is embarrassingly incompetent, you're in charge now. China's in charge now. This is why people look up to China. We only understand aggressive authority. We only understand this kind of toxic paternalism. Tell me you're in charge. I'll believe you. That's how Americans were taught to think. We don't all think like that. Some of us are enlightened, or another term for it might be woke. But I think China is the new superpower. We used to not care what was going on in other countries. I remember when I was in college, there was this event where some women from India were coming to our campus to teach traditional Indian dance. I think they were doing a performance, and there was going to be an interactive portion. No one wanted to go. One of my friends who's like a resident advisor was like, no one signed up for this event. We felt bad. Let's go. Let's go learn. Who cares? Let's go embrace this thing that, when else are we going to do this, right? So we show up, 5 of us, like 5 of them, and they teach us a whole dance routine. It was like a slumber party, right? It was a beautiful cultural exchange. And I think about why wasn't anyone else wanting to go? Why didn't anyone else want to learn that? It's because Americans are like, we're the best. Why would I learn anything else? It's not right. You enrich your life from learning from other people's and embracing other cultures. But if you're the best, why would you do that? That's kind of the American mentality. Not anymore. Now, we want to be Chinese a little bit. I tried to find a photo of us on that night, and I went to this girl's Instagram page. We used to be super close. She has a baby now. Lots of baby photos. I'm scrolling. I'm years back, and I accidentally tap a photo of the baby. I almost liked it on accident. Stalking someone's Instagram is one thing. Accidentally liking a baby photo? Getting caught stalking a baby photo? That's unacceptably weird behavior, okay? I was like, you know what? I'm not going to look for this anymore. It's going to turn me into a weird person, perceptively. I'm not creeping on babies. I can't believe that that's a thing people have to worry about, but nevertheless, the president's a pedophile. Another reason China is on the rise. When I was in South Africa, I studied abroad there in 2016. They had photos of Obama on their fridge. If you go to a black township outside of Cape Town, there's like their children's wedding photos and then Barack Obama magnets on the fridge. And their whole stay, they love the guy. That's the impression America has on other countries that now I see China start having. But it permeates, right? Other countries listen to American music, watch American TV, wear American clothes. There's always a little bit of aspirational Western stuff abroad. And it's because America made it that way. That's why we got all the military bases. That's why the CIA has been busy for the past 50 years, We wanted to be that. But China's doing it. Are they trying to do it? Probably. I've never seen a commercial for Chinese food, but we always eat Chinese food. I saw that on my timeline the other day, that I've never seen a commercial for Chinese food. Me either. That's crazy. McDonald's, Arby's, American food has an annoying amount of advertising attached to it. China's just out there being great, letting the greatness speak for them. And now they have this guy talking his shit. So we're not stopping them. No matter what, we're not stopping them. It was surprising to me, though, when I was living in another country, how much America was looked to and seen as important. It was an election cycle also. I remember seeing a commercial for the Trevor Noah hosted Daily Show. It was advertised to South Africans as a show for them. What's up with that, right? It was like, what's going on in the crazy United States? You have this idiot orange guy running for office saying God knows what. These stupid people have all the weapons. Thankfully, we have this guy from Mzansi to explain it all for us. I was like, this is how the Daily Show is advertised to South Africa? As if it's made for them? I was like, damn, I felt bad. I felt like bad about who I am as an American. I was embarrassed a little bit. I was like, shit. Imagine if they showed them Maury and Jerry Springer. Anyway, American politics was a regular nightly show that played for South Africans. It's like reality TV politics for them. But even in South Africa, the food is a big thing. There was McDonald's all over the place, KFC. One time, I went to KFC at night for a little French fry. And after a certain hour, they shut the doors. You got to walk through the drive-thru. So we're in line. And this guy, he says, you guys really shouldn't be here. This is a black space. This is an African space. And you shouldn't be here. My friend Hakan from Turkey starts speaking. They realize we're not South African Afrikaner colonizers. We're visitors from other countries. We're foreign. I'm like, I'm on your side, if anything. Like, I think you should own this land and not the Afrikaners. But he didn't care about that. He was just like mad that we're at KFC, which is funny because Kentucky is in the United States. So is it an African space? I wasn't ready to discuss that. We're in your country. You know what I mean? And so other people were like, hey man, they're not the people you think they are. These are Americans and Turkish people. And so it actually ended up that guy was one of the biggest organizers in South Africa, youth political organizers, and like within 1 week had put on the largest university protests we had seen. So that was crazy. I was like, wow, I know that guy. You know, we're friends. We get food late night together. The interesting thing though is I was friends with a few white South Africans, and one of them thought, and this is a real story, I don't believe in lying, making up stories for comedy. God bestows upon you life experiences, and if you cannot describe them in a way that makes them interesting and funny, that's on you, okay? Don't make stuff up that's funny. You know what I mean? That's your responsibility to make it funny if it's not funny when it happens. But this one is funny as God told the tale, you know? He gives me life experiences with the hopes that I use them to bring other people joy, I feel. It sounds like a bad comedy scene, right? But it's real. And because it's real, it's funny. If it was written for a movie, wouldn't be funny. Anyway, a real person who grew up in South Africa believed that the KFC logo, Colonel Sanders' face, was Nelson Mandela. Because why else would this guy's face be plastered everywhere in the country? Imagine when he found out this was Colonel Sanders and it's Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. KFC to ANC, I just don't even know how the connection was made. Also, what did he think Mandela looked like, right? He understood this when he was about a teenager, I think. And so, you know, kids believe a lot of stuff, but I always thought that was hilarious, and now I don't see the KFC logo the same. But think about how important American culture is for South Africans to think Colonel Sanders is Nelson Mandela, right? We're out there. I'm sorry to Nelson Mandela. God rest your soul. I can't even think of a better comparison. I'm not even going to try. We're just going to let that go. We're going to move on. I'm not saying Chinese society is perfect. Okay, that's not what this is about. This is about the perception that I have as an active social media user, I see a lot of young people and I see young American women wanting to embrace Chinese culture. And I think that's a sign of Chinese supremacy. And it's not because the United States is worse than it ever has been before. That's definitely not true. It's also not the case that China's the best country with no flaws. The problem is that China's slowly been getting better while the United States got better and then started deteriorating rapidly. The bar is low. No society is perfect, but China seems to be doing better. And I think that's where this is coming from, because when they banned TikTok, everyone went to Rednote, which is a company also owned by ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. So we said, this app has similar functionality. Let's go over there. We start seeing all these videos of people living life in China. We get curious, very curious. We've never seen this before. It felt like exploring another dimension. I had no idea they had that beautiful architecture, clean streets. University is very inexpensive. They go to school for longer school days. That probably isn't fun. But I mean, what are you going to do at home anyway, right? Nothing good, nothing productive. Maybe the kids should be occupied. I don't know. But I see this other way of living. We're talking about healthcare costs. There's a cultural exchange happening. And it left Americans longing for China. And it left the Chinese feeling grateful for where they are. And they're right to feel that way. And so China's strategy of do nothing and win, it's really working, I think. I never aspired to be Chinese before. I was bullied for being Chinese, even though I'm not. I was called Mulan by a girl. She apologized for it, but I'm Slavic and Italian and a little Welsh. I'm not Chinese, but I was bullied for being Chinese. But who's winning now, Carly? I shouldn't say that. She did apologize, and I forgave her. But no amount of apple tea will get you on my level now. Now that there's a new standard of beauty. Let me tell you something that maybe older generations don't understand. There's a reason China will win that is underappreciated, and it's that the younger generations of Americans love China. China has psychologically imprinted on us in a way that's irreversible, I fear. Picture it. You're an American child. You get in trouble for something. Your parents are stressed. They can't pay the bills. They're taking it out on you. There's not going to be an apology or an explanation. You're going to get sent to your room, teary-eyed, with a hurting heart, because the person that's supposed to make you feel safe and protected in the world is angry at you and the world. And so you get sent to your room for a while to play by yourself. And what do? You grab a toy. And what does the toy say on it? It says, made in China. When no one was there for you. China was there for you. China was there for me. I love China. Why wouldn't I love China? I have nothing but positive associations with China deeply ingrained in my psyche. So you can imagine when I started hearing China's going to become the world power, China's on the rise, all of this stuff. When you grow up, China's going to be so important. I was like, I know. China's everything. To me, they've made everything I love and enjoy. So I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to tell the American children that China's bad. I literally got a pink Nintendo DS for my 13th birthday and got a game to learn Chinese, to learn Mandarin. Okay? I didn't learn that much because I was not diagnosed with ADHD. But if you gave me a pill and you sat me down with that game, I'd be fluent. But it wasn't in the cards for me. So I never learned Chinese. But maybe I will now. Also, Chinese food. It's good. There's not a single kid that was disappointed when it was time to order Chinese food. They all had something they liked on the menu. We've all had a Chinese restaurant. I've been in many small towns in America. Most of them have a Chinese restaurant. You can't compete with that. So yeah, America led to its own demise. China was like, I'm going to do me. That is the right strategy. If I had to explain it in terms of hip hop, rap, beef, China is 50 Cent. and the United States is Diddy, and the documentary is about to drop. That's the global hegemony situation. When I was leaving grad school, I had this guy like, oh yeah, I really want to make sure you land somewhere good. And there was nowhere really that I wanted to go. I was like, no one's making good policy in the United States. Why would I go work for Deloitte, you know? Just funnel money out of the public budget to pay consultants to use AI to make slide decks. I don't want to be a part of the consultant industrial complex that runs the American government. So I ventured to do something different. He said, how about I get you a interview with Graham Ellison's office. You're going to do the application process where you write a memo for Graham. Who is Graham? Graham is a scholar who invented this thing called the Thucydides trap, which is when a rising power and a ruling power inevitably end up at war. Because whenever there's been a world hegemony and another one comes to surpass it, in like 9 out of 10 times, there's a war. And Thucydides was, I believe, an author that wrote about the Sparta-Athens beef dispute. And so Graham Allison wanted to find a way to avoid war with China. What is the path? How do we get beyond this as the U.S. is the rising, or the existing hegemon, and China's the rising power? How do we not have war with China? And I was basically like, we have to lock in. We have to have laws that allow corporations to pay people a fair wage. That not allow, but enforce corporations to share their profits with the people. We have to make the United States an enjoyable place to live. We can't have it be a situation where if you're born in a poor family, it doesn't matter what kind of accolades you have, talent, skills, inventive potential, you are stuck in a poor family. That's the reality of most people in the United States. Social mobility is abysmal, and that is an issue that economic justice laws can fix. If we want to compete with China, we have to let the poor thrive. Needless to say, I didn't get hired, because that is not how people who are professors at Harvard and friends with Henry Kissinger think about the world. Go figure. And now, I'm in a very Chinese time of my life, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So I just wanted to talk about that. I'm seeing the early signs of Chinese supremacy. China's becoming what America once was to the world culturally, in terms of pop culture. And I'm kind of down to assimilate. A little bit of assimilation with China. Tastes delicious. I made the apple tea. That's what I've been drinking for the China video. Drinking the apple tea. So it's good, and you should try too. Go China. Like, we can all be friends. That's my take. Thanks for watching. Love you, bye.
这期视频最值得思考的，不是博主夸中国，而是他提出了一个很多人从未注意过的现象：一个国家真正的影响力，往往不是靠宣传建立，而是靠年轻人的主动选择。视频里有一句话让我印象很深，他说：“小时候没人陪伴你的时候，陪着你的玩具，上面写着 Made in China。”这句话听起来像一句玩笑，却点出了一个现实：中国制造陪伴了一代美国人的成长，而今天这种影响正在从商品延伸到文化。视频中提到，自从 TikTok 事件后，大量美国年轻人开始涌入中国社交平台，第一次真正看到中国普通人的生活。他们发现，中国并不是西方媒体描述的样子，而是拥有干净的城市、便捷的交通、丰富的夜生活，以及充满烟火气的日常。与此同时，中国茶饮、养生方式、中文歌曲等文化元素也开始在海外社交媒体持续走红。视频最后提出了一个耐人寻味的观点：真正改变世界格局的，也许不是航母和导弹，而是谁能够赢得下一代年轻人的认同。当越来越多人开始主动学习一种文化，认可一种生活方式时，这种影响力往往比任何广告和宣传都更加持久。